Hi everybody, and welcome to this video that I promised I would do, and I know, well, at least one of you has asked for, about this painting of Ixchel that I created over the summertime for an exhibition in Glastonbury, because it's such an important painting to me and the process of it was huge and healing, and at the time I have done a bigger painting since, actually two bigger paintings, but this was the biggest painting I had done to date. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an actual picture, a shrunk down picture, closer up on the video as well, so you get to see that. But I thought I'd get the original behind me, even though you can't quite see the whole thing, you get an impression of what Ixchel is like in my painting. Now, when I set out to do this exhibition, I decided which goddesses I was going to paint, possibly rather arrogantly that I was going to do this goddess, out of organisation more than anything else, of just thinking let's plan which goddesses are going to come through, and without remembering that possibly the goddesses would sort out for themselves who wanted to be painted or who was going to come through. And I was sketching something and it wasn't feeling right, and suddenly I started sketching this jaguar goddess. And jaguars and big cats are very personally close to me. I'm very much a cat person, as you might have noticed, but big cats and jaguars, particularly leopards, are hugely important to me. And I just started sketching out the basics of this painting, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and I wasn't quite sure how much jaguar she was going to be or how human she was going to be or how they were going to meld, but I knew there was something about a shapeshifter-y energy that I wanted to create in this painting. But I didn't know who she was, but I did know from the sketch that that was what was going to happen, that was far better than what I'd planned to paint, and it was far more powerful and really spoke to me more than what I planned to paint. So I sketched it, and then if you saw my Witching When It Hurts videos, I think it's the end of May, beginning of June, that I started this, and I just felt held, and I felt like she came through at the right time. But I started painting and I felt really cool, excited, I'm painting, it's all good, and then I just, yeah, and I just went, okay, right, we're going to go into this space where a lot of healing is going to happen, and it was a huge healing, deep energy that's going to be really, really powerful. So I did lock myself away a bit to paint this, and it was a huge lesson in self-acceptance, self-love, and also the fierceness that can lie within, even when you don't feel fierce, even when you feel unfierce, when you feel like a bit of a watery mess, but you remember that water is the most powerful element there is, pretty much. And water is a huge theme of Ixchel. Now, again, I didn't really know anything about Ixchel. I knew she existed. That was about it. She's a Mayan goddess. That was about it. But I wish, yeah, you can't quite see her full glory. We can see her full glory, but you can't quite see the painting's full glory. So I started painting her, and I remember I planned it all out, and I just remember it being sometimes it was a bit of a night-time process, as some of them doing them quite late at night, and how she emerged from the canvas, from the darkness, pretty much. Her body emerged from the canvas, and yeah, so I researched jaguar goddesses. Now there's one in Egypt, can't remember what she's called, but she was a goddess of kind of writing and lore and stuff like that, and I was like, well, that's not what's calling me, you know, that's not what's feeling to be here. And I've always been drawn to South America. I've never been yet, but I've always been very drawn to South America. And when I was like, yes, when I saw about Ixchel and her aspect as a jaguar goddess, that felt so right. So Ixchel has many, many faces. She's a Mayan goddess of fertility, of the moon. These are her main things that she's known as, of healing, of water, all bodies of water. So she's a goddess of the rain, a goddess of waterfalls. She's a goddess of giving life, and the menstrual cycles and the birth cycles are very much a goddess of womanhood. But aspects of Ixchel are also crone and death. life-giving. So you've got life-giving and death-giving, the two faces. She often wears a serpent on her head, and obviously serpents are all about healing, energy rising, but that balance of life and death, transformation, shedding your skin. I didn't put a snake on her head, but I have got a snake coming down here. So I wanted to have the snake in, but the jaguar was going on the head. But it was her aspect, because I mean, I guess a lot of the stuff that is known about about Mayan goddesses and a lot of other goddesses are maybe with our own modern pagan take put on top. So she's often called a triple goddess or something like this. I definitely feel that she's more than one aspect, maybe more than one goddess put into one. There's different aspects of almost maiden, definitely maiden, the sexy maiden, the mother, the motherhood, and the crone. There's those aspects there, but there could also be other aspects as well. Ixchel means, I-X, I think it's pronounced E, means goddess or lady, divine feminine goddess, and shell is rainbow. So I didn't want to be a cheese ball and put a big rainbow everywhere, because I didn't feel it was a painting that was like, but I wanted the rainbow to be in it because it's important, and it's also healing, and it's the chakras, and it is the light and the sun and the water and the rain and the combination. So she has got a rainbow coming through and out of her palm there, and it's light, because Ixchel means Lady of Divine Light, or as well. So I wanted it was like the healing light that was kind of piercing her, not piercing, that sounds horrible, but kind of penetrating, going through her, this healing light. So, and we've got the moon. We felt very important to have that she's almost representing the full moon, and you've got the waxing and the waning, and I just wanted that to be really strong in the image. She's fierce, and she's femininity, and she is, for me, like, was a bit of a lifesaver to remind me of my own goddamn fierceness. You feel like fierceness is kind of getting up and but sometimes fierceness is accepting how you are, who you are, looking yourself in the mirror and being able to get up. And sometimes fierceness is really being you and not the pretty bits. And sometimes fierceness is keeping going. And sometimes fierceness is that spark within that comes out that maybe you forget about because you try to be people pleasing, as in, not you. We're people pleasing, and we are too nice when we mean to say actually this is not okay. And she was here to remind me of boundaries and of inner spark and inner power and sensuality and sexuality within self, not dependent on anybody else, something that you hold within yourself. There's a story, and there's many stories of Ixchel, but a story that resonated with me and was to do with this painting was that, not resonate with me in one way, is the story that she was a very beautiful goddess. I don't mean that, but that sounds again religiously vain. I don't mean it like that, but she was a very beautiful goddess, and she was adored by many different gods, and they all wanted to have her as their wife, and she was like, no, not interested. And there was one god, the sun god. I'm trying to get his name actually, the sun god. I'm really terrible with names, as you know. Here we go, I've got it on the screen here. His name is Kinich Ahu. I'm sorry, that's probably pronounced badly, but Kinich Ahu. He's a sun god. Probably not pronounced like that. Anyway, so put that down, I just want to get the name up. And she was in love with the sun. So the moon and the sun, there's often love story between the moon and the sun, isn't there? The desire to be with the other, the opposite. And I think that often explains eclipses and things like that, for those rare times when the sun and the moon as lovers meet and then move away again. So again, that's often a story for an eclipse, but not often particularly a long-lasting affair. So yeah, she was desperately in love with him. He was like, go away love, not interested, and other gods were after her, but she was like, no, I want him. And she was so desperately in love with him that she forgot about everything else she was meant to be doing, and chaos ensued. Again, she's a goddess of the moon and water. That could be passions overflowing. That could have explained a flood maybe at some point, because she was, or a drought, you know, because she was so in love with the sun that she forgot her duties as water and healing. And so there could be something going on to explain that story. And he was so not impressed until she won him over, because she's quite a good weaver, as most goddesses are. Weaving life and time and death and fate, as well as clothes, are very useful. So she won him over by weaving, and he was like, that's nice cloth work. You can come, you know, be my wife now, it's all okay. Her granddad got really jealous of her being in love with the sun and being with the sun, and threw an arrow or a dart at her, killing her or knocking her out of heaven to the earth. And you cannot quite see on this, I will put a picture in so you can see it, because I love dragonflies, they're very special to me as well. And when she was knocked out of the sky and to earth, the dragonflies healed her. So I put dragonflies here moving around the bottom of the painting, and went back up to, was healed, went back up to see the sun. And then, you know, but then, interesting, so we have this sense of death and rebirth, and my cat jumping over everything, hi Star. So she's killed, knocked out of heaven, but healed, so she's reborn. And then the sun, so the table's wobbling because Star's having a mad half hour on my desk. It's not an earthquake, it's Star moving the table. Isn't it, baby girl? Yes it is, I love you. So, yeah. Thinking of cats, but it's a different kind of cat. Yeah, so she had this kind of death and rebirth situation. Went back to see her sun god hubby or lover, and he started getting really jealous, really possessive, and she was getting a bit fed up with this. So it's interesting. So the death rebirth situation, she's not the lovesick child she was. She's a bit more like, whoa, hold on there, calm down. She kept promising he'd change, wouldn't be so jealous. He kept being, you know, it kept happening. She actually went away, found he was jealous that I think he was jealous she was having an affair with his brother, the morning star. Again, so we've got all the different astrological energies going on here. And in the end, she got he kept saying he'd change. He didn't. He kept getting very possessive and hard to deal with. So, he's gone from not caring to being over possessive, and then she's like, I just got to get out of here, this is crazy. And she has escaped in the form of a jaguar. They had 4 sons together as well, and they were jaguar headed gods, I think, the sons that they had, but she escaped this situation, which was not good for her, in the shape of a jaguar, and then became invisible when he came to find her because he was searching everywhere for her. Then I think she went to an island or a place where she healed and looked after women. This place is called, I can't remember what it was called actually. Again, I need to go and visit South America, that's what I need to do. But yeah, she went to an island and a watery place to heal women, and that was called Cozumel. And I think there's still a temple there to her now. And she went into this place to nurture women and to heal them through their pregnancies and to take them in that space. So I really love that story, and I think that was what was, I mean, I didn't do the painting from a story, I read the story as the painting was coming about, and I've let, because dragonflies, I was so excited that dragonflies could be my painting too, and the snake, and I don't know if you can see, on one side she's got the lightning and a storm coming from her hands, and on the other side she's got the rainbow and the light, and then the healing dragonflies down there. So I wanted that 2 sides, destruction and life. And then there's the eagle up there as well, which is another aspect, or sacred to Ixchel. The voice is the eagle as well. So he's kind of this masculine energy looking over. So yeah, that is a little bit about my painting. And for me, she's exceptionally powerful, exceptionally healing, and the jaguar itself is I don't think she looks fierce though. I don't mean fierce as in I'm going to attack you, I mean fierce in power within self, and holding that power within yourself, and not being a walkover, not being treated badly, and allowing your inner power to shine. And she's holding it, she's holding that space. So I really like as well, I want it to be shape-shiftery, I want it to be moving, I want this painting to be alive. And this is her taking the form, or coming out of the form of the jaguar, but taking the form because the energy for the jaguar is what she needed at that time. Maybe to leave that person, you need to have this fierceness and the strength of a jaguar to leave that person. But I've got a Totem Tuesday video about the jaguar for jaguar totem energy and the energy of a jaguar. But yeah, I just wanted to share the video with you. It's not so much about Ixchel, because I'm not an expert in Ixchel. I literally didn't know anything about her until I started painting, and it came through and I had to find out about her. And there's only one aspect of her, I know there's different aspects, but this aspect for me has been a bit of a lifesaver actually. And it was interesting as well because somebody else wanted to paint Ixchel, and I was like, what have we started? And then somebody else was doing a workshop and Ixchel was coming in, so it was this kind of tide where Ixchel was around and coming through quite strongly as a very empowering feminine energy, I think, and not taking any rubbish and being quite determined and going after what she wants. So there's so many aspects to Ixchel. I wonder how many facets she has. I bet there's so many, and I'd like to go to South America and find out more, maybe go to her temple. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you liked looking at my painting, and I hope you enjoy it. I mean, I'm going to put a link to my Etsy shop below. There are prints available in different sizes if you want to bring in this energy of Ixchel and that power into your home and into your life, then I would obviously really appreciate it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I will see you all really soon.